He knew it was coming. The doctors had given him 8 months. That was 11 months ago. He had one Sabbath left, and he knew exactly what he wanted to say. Saturday, week 11. Pisgah, a Westside story. Marcus Webb had always been an early riser. 5:30 every morning. Coffee, Bible, legal pad. The ritual that had anchored him since the gymnasium days. Since the folding tables and the borrowed PA system and the 43 people who showed up that first Sabbath not knowing what they were walking into. This morning he was up at 4. He sat in the dark for a long time before he turned the lamp on. The house was quiet in the way only a house with one person in it can be quiet. Not peaceful exactly, but still. Dana had been gone 14 months. He had learned to live inside the stillness she left behind. He hadn't learned to like it. He opened his Bible, not to prepare. He wasn't preparing anymore. He just wanted to sit with it one more time the way you sit with an old friend before a long goodbye. He read Moses on the mountain. I have let you see it with your eyes. But you will not cross over. He closed the Bible, sat with that for a while. Then he picked up his legal pad and wrote the last sermon he would ever write. The congregation at Westside Community Church knew Marcus was sick. He had told them 6 months ago. Stood at the pulpit on a Sabbath morning. No drama, no buildup, just the plain fact of it. Stage 4, pancreatic. The doctors were doing what they could. He was at peace. He wanted them to be too. What they didn't know was that this was the last Sabbath. His body had been telling him for 2 weeks. He recognized the language of it now. The way the pain shifted, the way sleep stopped coming, the way the world had started to look slightly luminous at the edges, like a photograph overexposed. He had seen enough people die to know what the final approach felt like. He had called his executive pastor Darnell the night before. I need you to run everything from Monday, Marcus said. Not just for a while, from Monday on. A long silence on the other end. Marcus, I know. I need one more Sabbath. Then it's yours. You've been ready for 2 years. I just wasn't ready to admit it. Another silence. Then, I'll be there. I know you will, Marcus said. That's why I'm not worried. He walked to the pulpit at 10:58. 1,200 people. 2 services collapsed into one. Darnell had made the call Friday night without being asked, some instinct telling him the congregation needed to be together today. Every seat filled. People standing along the back wall. Marcus stood at the pulpit and looked out at them for a long moment without speaking. He saw faces he had known for 11 years. The couple who had come in off the street the 3rd week and never left. The teenager who had grown up in the children's ministry and was now leading the youth group. Derek, clean for 3 years now. His daughter beside him, her hand in his. He saw the empty seat in the 3rd row where Dana used to sit. He looked at it for just a moment. Then he looked back up. I want to tell you something I should have said a long time ago, he began, about what this has cost and what it has been worth. The room went completely still. 11 years ago, I stood in a school gymnasium and told 43 people that God had called me to build something here. I believed it then. I believe it now. What I didn't know then, what I couldn't have known, is what that call would require, what it would take, what it would ask me to lay down. He paused. Some of you know about Dinah. You know she left. What you don't know, what I've never said from this pulpit, is that she gave me a choice. Her or this. And I chose this. And it broke something in me that never fully healed. Not a sound in the room. I'm not telling you that to make you feel guilty. I'm not telling you that so you'll feel the weight of what was sacrificed for this church. I'm telling you because Moses told the truth. He stood before 2 million people and told them the whole story, the good and the terrible, and held nothing back. And I owe you the same. I got it wrong with Dana. I loved this church more than I loved her, and I dressed that up in the language of calling for years before I could admit what it really was. God forgave me for that. I'm still working on forgiving myself. He looked down at his notes, then set them aside. But here is what I know. God does not waste the broken things. He uses them. Every meal this food pantry has served. Every person who walked out of this building sober for the first time. Every marriage that found its way back. Every kid who learned that they are loved by a God who does not leave. That happened here. In this building, with these people, and whatever it cost. Whatever I got wrong along the way, I would do it again. He looked out at them one more time. Moses never crossed the Jordan. He gave everything he had for a land he never set foot in. He poured 40 years into a generation that would fail within one lifetime of entering the promise. He knew it was coming. God told him, and he kept going anyway. That is what faithfulness looks like when it's real. Not the version where everything works out. Not the version where the sacrifice pays off in the way you hoped. The version where you do what God asked and trust him with the outcome and climb the mountain when he says climb. I have seen the land, Marcus said quietly. I have seen what this church is going to be. I won't be here to see it happen, but I have seen it, and it is good. He stepped back from the pulpit. Darnell is going to lead you from here. He is the right man. He has been the right man for 2 years, and I kept him waiting too long because I wasn't ready to let go. Don't make him wait anymore. Take care of each other. Take care of the poor. Keep the doors open, and don't you dare forget where you came from. He looked out at the 1,200 faces one last time. The Lord himself goes before you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. He stepped down from the platform. Darnell met him at the bottom of the stairs and put his arm around him and walked him to his seat in the front row. Marcus sat down. He did not go back up. They came to him for 2 hours after the service, one by one. The couple from the third week, the teenager who was now leading youth, Derek, who held Marcus's hand and couldn't find words and didn't need to. Person after person coming to say what people always mean to say and run out of time to say before it's too late. At the very end, when the room had almost emptied, a woman came in through the side door. Marcus looked up. Dana? She had aged. They both had. And she looked at him with an expression he couldn't quite name. Not anger, not grief exactly. Something quieter than either of those. She sat down beside him. Neither of them spoke for a moment. I heard, she said finally, about the diagnosis. I should have come sooner. You're here now, he said. She looked at her hands. I'm sorry I gave you that choice. I've thought about it every day since. It wasn't fair. You were telling the truth, Marcus said. That's all. You told the truth, and I told the truth, and the truth was hard for both of us. She nodded, slowly. Was it worth it? She asked, not bitterly, genuinely. He thought about Derek and his daughter, the teenager leading youth, the food pantry, the 3,000 Sabbaths in between the gymnasium and today. Yes, he said, and I'm sorry it cost you what it did. Both things are true. She sat with him until the last of the light faded through the windows. She didn't leave until he was ready to go. When he stood to walk out, she took his arm. They walked out together, into the evening, into whatever came next. Marcus Webb died 9 days later, at home, quietly, in the early morning. The lamp was on. The Bible was open. The legal pad was beside it. The last thing he had written, in his careful hand at the top of a fresh page, were 4 words. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Moses climbed his mountain alone. Marcus climbed his in front of 1,200 people. The mountains look different. The climb is the same. Faithfulness is not the version where everything works out. It is the version where you do what God asked. Absorb the cost, tell the truth, hand it to the next person, and trust him with the outcome. The Lord himself goes before you. That was true for Moses. It was true for Marcus. It is true for you. Tomorrow, the Week 11 reflection. What it means to finish well. What Moses and Marcus have in common with every person reading these words. And the question that matters more than any other at the end of a long obedience. See you then.